Well, this is Charles Caro of the Option Trader's Assistant, and today I'll be talking about trading plans. As they say, if you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail, or your best bet is to plan your trades and then trade your plans. So we certainly agree with that philosophy, and we have in the Option Trader's Assistant trading plans. And a trading plan, in our terminology, is a little different. We have the trade management plan, which is setting your targets and your adjustment points and things like that. And a trade plan, a trading plan in the option trader's assistant is kind of like a template for a trade management plan and for trade proposals as well. So what happens with a trading plan is you specify how you want to construct your trade with the strategy and certain parameters, and then where the adjustment points should be. And when you're ready to execute it, and I'll show you in a minute, the option trader's assistant then goes and scans the chains and finds the options that meet your criteria and sets up a proposed trade for you. And then when you have your opening order filled, it then calculates where the adjustment points and targets should be, the profit target and the max stop loss, and implements all those and then sets up alerts for those cases, all automatically, essentially, with a click. And so I'll show you how this works before I get into how to create a plan. You can create plans, and here the difference here is the plans that look like this, that just have a link here, are dedicated to a specific underlying and price. The ones that have a button, then they will have a pop-up that comes up to solicit more information about what the trade is supposed to do. And in this case, it's going to ask for different underlying. I've got a plan here that works with different underlyings, and you can also set one up that works in the same underlying but at different strike prices. So if I click this button, it asks me for what the underlying symbol is going to be, and let's just take Apple, and I click Create, and now it's scanning the chains and finding an expiration date that meets my specification for 45 DTE, and then it found the options at the 50 and 70 deltas. And there's my proposed trade. So a trade you do regularly over and over again, one click and it's on the screen, and then another click to put the opening order in, place order, and get it filled, and I'm done. And then once the order is filled, you come back and it has pre-calculated your profit target, and you put a good till canceled order in for that, and there you go. So that's how quickly these trading plans can be really valuable. And another thing you can do, just to show how you can also use those here, on the matrix, if I go to say create new trade on the matrix and click generate, and then I can choose from my plans here, and notice it also even works with 0-day, and it works with multiple underlying. So now I can choose an Apple 31-day put credit spread, click generate. It's going to scan the chains, and it finds me the nearest expiration to what I specified, which here in this case is 28 DTE, and it did find the short put and long put that met the specifications, and here it is in the graph that I can look at. And from here I also can put my order in, or even commit, or save the trade. And it saves you a lot of time when you've got a repetitive plan that you're doing over and over again. So how do we create these plans? You go to the plan menu and say new personal plan, and you get your choice of using any of these strategies here on our trade design assistance. And if you have something that isn't one of these commonly used strategies, we also have the advanced, and I'll show that in a minute. We've got them divided here by bearish directional strategies, and some of these we're still working on implementing. But there's a bear call credit spread, and then on the bullish, you've got the bull put spread, or the wide credit spread, which is like the cash secured put alternative, and a directional butterfly. And then the neutral strategies are here also. So let's just, for example, I'll take iron condor. You pick an underlying symbol, and now the new new thing we just introduced, you can leave the underlying symbol blank and it'll prompt you for it at the time you want to propose a trade, and you put the number of days to expiration, and we put little examples here of what that would mean. So if I want to look to a 10 DTE, right now 10 DTE is the 1st of September, and the delta of the short call, the delta of the short put, remember this is an iron condor, and then the width between the shorts and longs. Just specify these, set them up, and if you generally trade 10 contracts, then you put in whatever number you trade here, and then you put in your targets, and they can be based on either the initial credit for the iron condor, or in case of credit spreads, or the percent of capital calculated based on the Reg T approach, or even an amount. And you put that target in. We've specified some defaults here, but you can change them. Just use the arrows or type the number in. And then you can specify the when to take action, how close, or actually in iron condors, we use a change in delta of the short option. So if the short option delta increases by 10 points, that's our adjustment point. That's the way it works for iron condors. We specify these, and if you go to the advanced, you can do any way of specifying you like. And then how to act there's nothing here as a default, but you would type in what you're going to do. For example, roll up and out. You put that in there, and that way it's all right there. All you have to do is follow the plan. When you get an alert that says it's time to adjust, you come in, read the instructions, and do what they say, rather than having to agonize over what to do for your adjustment. Now, another feature we have here is to specify a day. If you trade a particular trade every Monday, say, or any day of the week, you can specify it here, and it'll come up on that day of the week on the dashboard. If you leave it blank, it doesn't come up on the day tab, but you just look under all. So if you trade this every day of the week, you'd leave this blank, and then you click save, and that saves that plan, and it'll show up on the dashboard. And maybe I won't save this one because I've got plenty of examples already. And then under personal plans, here is a list of all the different personal plans that you have, and you can activate or deactivate them, which means they will either show up on the list or not. And if you deactivate it, because this is not the season for that kind of or the environmental conditions, it's here on the list, and you can reactivate it later when conditions become more favorable for that particular trade. So I can go out and edit the trading plan, or I can create a trade from the plan, or I can even just delete it to get rid of it altogether. So now going back to the dashboard, the trading plans have the Today tab, which will show any plans that are marked with the current day of the week. So today being Friday, this one is marked to be a Friday trade. We also have a Yesterday tab here. This will show any plans that are designed for regular trading on the previous day of the week. In case Thursday the market really was doing crazy things, so you're not going to put a trade on, but we'll wait one day and put the trade on the next day. You can look at it that way. And for trades that were from some other day of the week, or that don't have a day of the week, the things you might trade every day if there's 0 DTE, for example, the All tab is for that. And they're all listed here. You can put notes, and I'll show you later how to do that, that can remind you of what the plan is for, or when it's best used. And then just click here as I showed before, and it'll create a trade based on the plan. And then if you want to go back and edit, you just click on the edit button, and it gives you back to it allows you to edit it. Now let me show you the advanced screen as well. The trade design assistance lets you quickly put one together and leaving some defaults, but you can go to the advanced from scratch. And this is a little longer screen here, and it's a little more technical. You have to get into the details with it, but you give it a title, and this title will be carried forward whenever you create trades from the plan. And you can pick a strategy. We've got a lot of different strategies in here that you can pick a strategy, and you need to pick a strategy so it'll calculate the margins correctly. and an underlying symbol. And as I said, you can put an underlying symbol in here or leave it blank and it'll ask it for you. And for the moment, it's days to expiration of the short and days to expiration of the long. We are working on a way that, and you'll see why in a minute, to specify the expiration dates differently by a leg at a time. But for the moment, it's working. It just takes the two expiration dates and uses them. And the day of the week I was just explaining, you can put that in, put it blank. And now the trade legs, you can add as many legs as you want here. We have in design, and we're working on it in process, in other words, a little change to the way this works, because right now, for example, setting up a complex trade such as Steve Gantz's Flyagonal or Dan Sheridan's combo trade with 5 legs in it, you can put 5 legs in here, but specifying them correctly is not as easy as it should be, and that's why we're working on a change on that. Up here, it does describe all of the things you need to put in here, but I'll just go through it quickly. A stock, a call, or a put, a quantity, and long is a positive number and short is a negative number. The moneyness is how the strike price should be determined. Is it out of the money, in the money, or is it relation to one of the other legs of the trade? And so if I was setting up, for example, let's just set up a put credit spread, for example, here. It would be a short put that is going to be out of the money by delta, and let's say I want to go to a 15 delta credit spread. And the strike preference, if the calculated strike price is between strikes, should I go up one or down one for the strike preference? And you also can say you only want to see Fridays, for example, or only monthlies if you want to, or all expirations. And I'll add the second leg now of my put credit spread, which is going to be a put, and it's going to be long, and it's going to be in relation to the, it's going to be below the short by $10. Okay, so that is going to be a 10 wide, 15 delta put credit spread. That's how you'd set it up. And then if you were doing, say, an iron condor, you could add more legs here. You could add the calls and make that a short that's also out of the money by, let's say, a 15 delta, or you can make it 20 delta if you want. Oops. I'm on the wrong arrow here. Hold on. And add another leg, which could be a call. And it's going to be above the upper short. This should actually be below the lower short. And we'll make this 10 wide as well. And then you can specify here whether the target should be by percent of capital or percent of credit or even an amount. And here on these trading plans, you can also specify an early target and a later target. And so say the first 3 days of the trade, I would accept a lesser target gain. Let's say I would take 5%. If I got it within the first 3 days, I take 5%. And otherwise, I'm looking for 10%. And the OTA will automatically make that switch for you. And you can set an early and later stop loss targets as well. And the adjustment points, again, you can have early and later adjustment points. You can specify adjustment points in all these different ways: by a change in the delta of the shorts, by number of points from break even, by number of pennies from break even if you're in lower priced vehicles, points past break even or cents past break even, or percent of the way from the short to the break even, and that would be something you might use for a butterfly if we want to go halfway to the break even from the center point. And even points of change, if you look at it that way, of either the underlying or the short. And then you can also specify the trade as a whole is a loss or the delta of the whole spread as a combination. All those different ways of specifying adjustment points. And you got early and late and upside and downside adjustment points. And then you can again put a note, a description of how to adjust. And once all this is saved, you can then easily make a trade from this trading plan as a template. And this it's a lot harder than just using the trade design assistance, but that's here to give you the flexibility if you want to specify things in different ways or have different kinds of strategies other than the ones we have in the design assistance. Now, in the future, we'll have this so you can specify multiple legs that have separate expiration dates and even group them together to be ordered in bunches, such as what you'd have to do if you had 5 or 6 legs. You have to order them separately. You can only put in an order for 4 legs at a time. That's how it works using trading plans in the Option Trader's Assistant, and it can save you lots of time for your repetitive income trades.